This year, the college medal is awarded to Fleur Trappier.
Good evening, Mr. Warren Jacobson, Dr. David Baxter, Mr. Michael West, Ms. Kerry Podast, ACPE academic staff, fellow graduates and family and friends. As the ACPE College Medal winner for 2012, it is my honour and privilege to speak on behalf of the graduating class. For my fellow graduates and I, this graduation ceremony offers us the opportunity to look back and see where our journeys with ACPE began. I'm sure every graduate tonight has their own story and memories of their first encounter of ACPE. However, I would like to share a story about mine. My tertiary education began in 2008, following the completion of my high school certificate at Loretto Normanhurst. However, my first step into tertiary education did not begin at ACPE, but rather the University of Sydney. My goal was always to go to the University of Sydney and to be a PE teacher. However, during Year 12, my ICSA netball coach was Kerry Ann Copperfield, who was an ACPE graduate and is now a current member of the ACPE Student Services team. Each week, Kez would come to training with a new story about how good ACPE was, whether it was from what sport she'd been doing in class each week, the uni parties that were going on, her uni games, and even her own graduation ceremony. So after Kez's positive words about ACPE, I decided to look into the college. In the summer holidays, before our UAC offers became available, my dad and I went for a tour and an interview at ACPE. As soon as we walked in, I remember being greeted by several staff members, and I always will remember how passionate Mike Banks, our presenter on the day, was about the college and everything ACPE had to offer. After the tour, I then had my interview with Dr. Baxter, and knew from that moment that ACPE was the place for me. It seemed so much like Loretto. I felt a real sense of community spirit and a place where the staff were willing to invest their time in you. During my interview, I remember Dr. Baxter asking me if I had applied for a scholarship, and my answer was no. I wasn't even aware that they were offered here. After the interview finished, Dr. Baxter gave me information regarding the scholarship. I was so excited that I went home and put together my application that afternoon, then made Mum drive me there the next morning so I could hand it in. As the weeks went on, I was still unsure as to where I would begin my tertiary education, as I was offered a place into both the University of Sydney and into ACPE. So, just to be safe, I accepted both offers. As it worked out, Sydney Uni started the week before ACPE, so I initially went to Sydney Uni. And after the first week, I was still hesitant about the course, as well as having over 400 people within my lectures. So at the end of the first day, I rang Mum and told her about my day. Much to my surprise, she told me that there was a letter from ACPE. I was so excited I couldn't even wait to catch the train home to open the letter that I asked Mum to open it. The letter then outlined that I was one of the successful recipients of the Peter Cornish Scholarship. At this point, I was over the moon, and the following week, I decided to attend ACPE O Week. After arriving at ACPE and walking into the hall for the first day of O Week, I knew that I was at home and this was the place for me. I look back now at my time at ACPE and truly cherish the learning opportunities which I've had. I will never forget the quote in which I read in my first year at ACPE from our college founder, Frank Stewart, which reads, "Many students only strive not to fail. Why not strive to succeed?" This was my aim. This goal became even more apparent to me when I volunteered at the 2008 ACPE graduation ceremony when I was in my first year. I remember sitting back, watching Melanie and Paul, the college medal winners, deliver their speeches, and hoped that that would be me. As years passed, I watched each college medal winner take their place on the podium, which inspired me to continue trying my best. But for me to achieve the grades in which I did took a lot of hard work, time, and dedication. I must admit it was not an easy feat. Whether it was writing 12 drafts for an essay, or when students were complaining of having a 20-minute presentation, I was always worrying about fitting my 40-minute presentation into 20 minutes. At the end of the day, I always did enjoy all of the units that I studied and the learning opportunities which ACPE had offered, and would not change my study habits if I were to do it all again. Another aspect which I'll miss about ACPE is a sense of community which is evident each time you walk down the corridors. Whether it's walking past student services, into the commo, into the hall, into the computer room, or simply heading down to grab a bite to eat, you were always sure to stop and see someone you could chat to. This just added to the memories and friendships I've made during my time at ACPE. My first 2 years with Shoot S were great, and I thoroughly enjoyed our lunchtimes at the Overflow, even though many of you were constantly scaring away the birds for me. Whether it was playing soccer in the hall before class, or watching you all wave at me whilst I was still in my car studying for an exam we were about to start, I will never forget that. For the shoots I was in during 3rd and 4th year, I had a blast. I really enjoyed being in classes with a range of different students, and some of the highlights were our units in dance in 3rd year and sports med in 4th year. Some other fond memories I have are arriving to class 15 minutes early just so I could get a seat on the very end so no one else could block my view, as well as what felt like the treacherous hike from number 1 to number 8 with over 10 textbooks in my hand which I needed to complete the assignment which was due the next day. Those many late nights or sleepless days before a major assessment was due, or memorising an essay which we had 2 hours to write, and I was always the only one left in the exam room. For all those uni games which I attended, I will never forget our shuffling in 1st year in Melbourne, having a blast on level 22 of the Moroccan in 2nd year, meeting the ACPE Awesome Foursome in Perth in 3rd year, and winning a bronze medal in Canberra for mixed netball in 4th year. After finishing at ACPE, I was fortunate enough to be appointed a primary school PE teacher in 5 different schools across Sydney. I'm thoroughly enjoying working full-time, and I hope to continue teaching PE in a primary school setting. I would now like to take some time to thank all the people who have helped me reach the place where I am today. I would like to thank the lecturers and tutors who have helped me realise my potential and helped me achieve the results in which I have. I truly do appreciate all of your replies to my many, and I mean many, emails I would send regarding every assignment, just so I could make sure that I was on the right track. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be standing up here tonight. I would especially like to thank Angelie, Karen, Duncan, Kathy, Kim, Claire, Sven, Peter, Anne-Marie, Brad, Sarah and Diane. But also a special thanks goes out to all the ACPE educators on behalf of the graduating class. To Student Services, I would also like to thank you for your hard work, dedication and time you have for all the students at the college. Without you, ACPE would not run as smoothly as it does. Whether it be organising SRG meetings, uni games, uni parties, mentor group meetings, barbecues on the deck, or just being available to have a chat, it's greatly appreciated. I would also like to thank the library staff, as I cannot even remember how many times you let me borrow over 10 books at a time, or how many times you questioned me about if I was my sister Dana, and you just let it slide, as more often than not, I would need all of the loans remaining on her library card, as well as my own. And of course, to my fellow graduates, I've thoroughly enjoyed our 4 years together at ACPE, whether it's Edie, whether it's eating lunch together on the deck, or in the commo, or chatting through the hallways, or catching up during class when we were supposed to be doing group work, but I was always the one trying to catch up on how everyone else was going. Congratulations to everyone graduating tonight. Good luck, and I truly do wish you well in your future endeavours. And most importantly, I would like to thank my family. To my mum and dad, thank you so much for the opportunities you have provided me with over the years. I'm forever grateful for your constant guidance, support and encouragement. To Dana and Jack, thank you for always helping me in times of need and constantly supporting me. For the countless times you both spent testing me for hours on end before I had an exam, I truly do appreciate it. I would now like to invite my fellow graduates to thank those who have supported them in their studies and who have come tonight to acknowledge their achievements. I would please like to ask all graduates to rise, face their family and friends, and join me in a round of applause to show our appreciation for their dedication and efforts in seeing us through to this time of celebration.